Hello and welcome back to Operations with Void. I'm your host, Forgotten Void, and this week we're using the mines. Actually, I had another V44 planned, but I couldn't find the recording. Maybe it got deleted or something. But either way, we're doing Killer Whale. The original video with Killer Whale, I was going to talk about how slow battleships shouldn't enter the harbor and that sort of thing, and doing the same thing as the last Killer Whale video pointed out. It was in Brandenburg, so click the link to see that video. But today we're going to be doing the mines with this, and as you've already noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, but we're using Luchins. Cool little feature here is you can click here to mount and demount the tracers. So if you want the tracers to show or not to show, the pennant to show or not to show, the signal flare to show or not to show. So this, you can have a stealth Luchins build. No one will know you're running Luchins until your mine starts healing for some reason. This mine doesn't have a heal, but if you spot get three spots, then your mines will start healing, and then everyone knows, oh, you have Luchins. So yeah, if you want to stealth Luchins, this is what I do. It's so people don't, oh, what's a mines with the Luchins, they're going to get all the XP. This is why I don't show those. Anyways, so the skills we have are mostly for DPM. We have Grease the Gears because the turret traverse is pretty slow, so this brings us down to 19.7 seconds, which is tolerable. Fill the tubes because we use our tubes a lot, and using the quad tubes, they actually reload pretty slow, and so this brings us down to 81 seconds instead of being at 90 seconds. Pack a punch for the extra torpedo range and extra torpedo damage, because the torpedo tubes, they only do 15k. We want them with the pack a punch, so they would do even less without it. We run Adrenaline Rush and Top Grade Gunner for the for extra DPM. We don't use heavy HE, because even with Concealment Expert, you're still at 12 kilometers conceal. And so while we don't need Top Grade Gunner active all the time, with how closed in the maps are in ops, most of the time 12 kilometers is usually plenty for the Top Grade Gunner when you want it. And then when you don't want it or want to get dark, you have some leeway with 12 kilometers of conceal. Prior to a target, so we know what we're looking at. Gun feeder, because you should be swapping between HE and AP a lot with mines. You want to use the AP because they do heavy cruiser damage with this caliber. So all the other heavy cruisers, all the other nations' heavy cruisers, and German light cruisers do the same AP damage. So that's why we have that. And then Last Stand, because we don't want to have a broken rudder or engine be stuck. Otherwise, this is particularly a mines build. If you really want DPM, you take off Concealment Expert and you go heavy HE, and then you have a point to pull somewhere else. Where would I even put the other point? I guess you could pull off these two, and then you have 6 points to play with. And then you would do heavy HE, and then I'd actually go with a focus fire training, and then I don't know, consumable special, nothing really. Yeah, there's nothing really good for 1 point, and so that's why I have Concealment Expert. That's another reason why I go for a 4-point skill. I guess, yeah. Anyways, that's enough about the skills. What makes the ship really, really, really nice is while you only have a 9% fire chance, just going to grab Montpellier, my Cleveland class, with a captain that has no skills. We're just going to take it up to initial fuse, IFHE, to show with IFHE, Cleveland, known as the Fire Monster, goes down to 6.5%. So, Mainz over here with 9%, so you have higher fire chance than at a Cleveland class with IFHE, plus you have up to 38 millimeters of pen, so you don't even need to take IFHE to get the pen. The downside is you only have 1700 max damage, whereas we go here 22, so you a little bit on the anemic side with the shells. But since all your shells are probably going to pen for damage, it makes up with it. So that's one of the things that makes Mainz really good. She has 4 sets of torpedoes, so you can dish out lots of torpedoes, even though they're only 6 kilometers range. When you are within that range, they are really good. And then even the artillery, the secondaries, they pen 26 millimeters of armor, so most light and heavy cruisers you come across, they will pen as well. Otherwise, there's nothing too special about them. With that, we'll go ahead and go into battle. So, as you can see, we have another Mainz. There's the Leon, VV44, Ranger, Nagato, Ramat on our team. So I'm thinking, oh, there's another Mainz. Okay. We're just going to go in and play things like a light cruiser, and just normal light cruiser. We're not going to go spawn camp anything. We're going to play this like we should, and then we won't have anybody complaining at us, right? Right? Okay. Keep that in mind. No one's going to complain about our playstyle, right? Because we're going to play things normally. Anyways, on that note, VV44 should not play things normally because it's slow. Even Nagato and Leon, well, okay, Leon's fast enough, but Nagato's pretty slow. And, okay. I guess Nagato's not too slow. Okay, as you can see, we're using armor piercing. We're actually shattering at this point. And so you can see we're not quite at the point where we can pen. So a little bit under 8.5 kilometers is when our 150 millimeter armor piercing will start to pen. It's been a while since I've run Mainz, and so I've normally been running heavy cruisers, and heavy cruisers will pen 10 kilometers or more. I don't know why I didn't pen on that one. And the island, as you can see, the trees actually mark the island, so the island there is not, it has some hitbox issues right there. But yeah, no. We are penning this, and with armor piercing at closer ranges is what you want to use because it will do damage, much, much more damage. If you get all of the 12 pens, then it will just be deleted. Anyways, as I was saying about the battleships, they should actually stay out of the harbor because if you go in the harbor, then you will be too slow to do anything later. And one of the reasons why we're going this side is to show how you can solo this side. You don't go charging in like you see everybody doing, and then everybody who chose charging in dies. You sit out and wait. You let the enemies come to you. And while we're doing that, we can kill the fort. So we're swapping to high explosive for the Gade. It's coming out. We don't even need to send torpedoes because I know I have the DPM to just take out the Gade. And actually, I want to get the Gade a little bit further out. Come on, keep coming, keep coming. We're going to go ahead and pull that out because I saw the Nürnberg's at almost no health, so it's going to pretty much die. And by getting the Gade to come out like this, now we have a window. Most people see, oh, a white line. I'm going to throw torpedoes. No. the Bayern will turn as soon as it gets around this corner. So we are waiting until, like, now you see the white line is way over there. Because if it was going in a straight line, that's where we'd hit it. But no, it's turning in. So we do one salvo of armor piercing to get some good chunk damage. And then we swell up to high explosive because it's bow on to us. And with this, we are swapping to the other side so we can use other torps. Because in this case, only one of the torp racks hit. So now we're going to continue going. We're going to try to outrun the turrets. And also, we are going to turn. Okay, we got 3 more torpedo hits. We're trying to turn to get maybe some bounces, but the Bayern overmatches pretty much everywhere on our armor. So the only place that we could bounce is our torpedo belt, really. And then it would just be a torpedo protection hit. Currently, during the... Not sure if this will affect things or change in the future. But currently, while the D-Day operation is available, even in normal ops, you will get the ribbons, the hit ribbons, on the shore installations. When D-Day ops end in a couple patches, I don't know if things will change. But for now, you get hit ribbons, and so that helps you trigger Lucians faster. Also, I'm going after the Cimarron support ships, because right now the battleships, they can't shoot me, and they're visible. So I'm like, might as well. They're free XP. Most people will say you want the Gneisenau and Bayern dead first. This is wrong. It used to be true before the ops rework. But once the ops are reworked, they added a new feature in Killer Whale where as soon as all the ships with guns in the harbor are destroyed, the reinforcement waves spawn in. And so if the Cimarron ships are still alive when the reinforcements come in, then the reinforcements have more time to get to the harbor and you would lose a star. And because of this, while I will shoot some at the gunships, I actually want the Cimarrons or the other stuff, the secondaries, to be taken care of. I see Gneisenau on fire, so here I'm going to use this as a chance to set Gneisenau on fire. I'm just swapping targets because I can't. I'm sharing the love. And by letting Gneisenau just sit there and burn a little bit, then I'm getting damage over time on the Gneisenau while I'm actively focusing on other targets. And I'm hitting the Cimarron because, or going for it, because it was going across the island. I can't shoot it anymore. And so I noticed that one's dead, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. So now I can just focus on the Gneisenau. It looks like it just DCP'd. So let's get some fires going. Oh, there's 2 fires. So now the center fires. These are the easy fires. I could just continue shooting at the center, but instead I'm going to shoot at the nose and rear of the ship because I see the center is already damage saturated. So even if I'm shooting at the center, I'm only getting like 10% damage. Whereas if I get the fires, then that is some nice damage over time. So there we go. We have the 3rd fire set. Now we just need the 4th fire. And there's the 4th fire. And now we can go back to setting the center on fire. And Bayern's dead. I was going to target it, but it's dead. So we'll continue with the Gneisenau, but the fires were really raging. Now that all these ships have been destroyed, and it's about the time that reinforcements would approach anyways, around 12:15. So we didn't. we're not speeding the up any faster. And everybody can choose to go in. So now the ships shouldn't have more time than normal to get to the harbor. And by sitting out here, where we are in G4-5 area, we did not go too deep, so we're actually easy to get back out of the harbor and take out the destroyers. To prevent, we are going to protect our side of the harbor. The Ramat was not in position, and so it died. If it was in position, it could have torped the Nuremberg, but it must have missed their torps, or one wasn't in position, or maybe it was too close. But they failed at spawn camping, which is sad because that's all they did this match. And the Ramat, it's a pretty meh boat. That line doesn't actually get good until tier 8. Okay, tier 7's okay, but it's basically a worse Flint. Flint is decent, and then you make Flint worse, and then you have the tier 7 on that line. So we're swapping because we want the Fuso to DCP so we can set another fire. So there we go. I see a fire. Now to go focus on to the T-22. So I am going to go up here and I'm going to solo. And I am changing directions constantly. And so this passively lets me dodge shells. So like I wasn't even looking at those shells or the Fuso firing, and just by turning and adjusting my speed, I am actively dodging the shells. Now, a good thing about Mainz is, even though it's a light cruiser, it does have 25 millimeters of armor because it's German, and it's a Hipper hull. So Hipper hull has 27 millimeters of armor all over. Okay, we got that killed. So now we have a Nuremberg, and I put out the fire because I did not want to have a broadside Nuremberg. Now you notice I'm 8 kilometers out, but I'm launching torpedoes because I know that they should reach the Nuremberg. So I'm launching torpedoes at the Fuso too, but now I'm going to turn in towards the Fuso. And the reason is because I can bounce shells off the nose of the Fuso with the Fuso. And here we are. We're going to swap to armor piercing real quick. Unfortunately, we did not get a torpedo hit, but it kept it more or less broadside. Actually, we got it. We got one torpedo hit against the Nuremberg, not against the Fuso though. So you can see it just launched all of its guns in a barrage, and they all bounced. We had a double fire, so we used the DCP, but unfortunately, the Fuso secondary set us another double fire. So we're using armor piercing here because at this range we are going to penetrate more. And now we're going to move aside. So, and there's our heal. We got our 6th spot, so our second heal. We could choose to stay dark. Or at this range, I can comfortably dodge most of the shells from the Fuso. So we are going to start whittling down the Fuso because it needs to be whittled down. The Alba shells, I'm not sure I can dodge all of them, but I can certainly try. And there we go. And now the Fuso has a triple fire. Now that the Fuso has a triple fire, and that's permanent, we are going to focus on the Alba. Because the Alba has the higher DPM, and it's shooting HE at us. And I don't like being on fire. As you can see, I just DCP that single fire because it's probably not going to set us on fire again, right? Right? Very next salvo sets us on fire again. It's okay. We return the favor. It's on fire again. And we have gotten out of range, more or less. So they are actually now shooting at the Nagato. I don't know why they're shooting at the Nagato when I am technically closer. But it might have something to do with the Nagato being a tier lower and bots liking to focus on lower tier ships. So if they're at about the same distance, they will often focus the lower tier ship. Which is really not fair to the players who play lower tiers. So the lower tier ships are usually... They have less HP and can get taken out faster. Which in this case, I think they actually have more HP because they're the Nagato. But I'm not checking. And now I see the Fusos right there, so I'm going to try and take out the Fuso. And there we go. We got our natural selection, which, since it was a Fuso kill and a battleship, that means that was our 8th non-cruiser kill. So it's either 4 of the same type of ship or 8 ships of a different type. And there we go. There's our 10th kill, actually. And here we are, if you look, we're at 340k already. 632 shell hits. Now, I could run for the exit, which is the smart thing to do. But even if I'm in the exit, it's not going to change. We're not going to win because we need 3 ships in the exit with 5. Whereas I see 2 ships going toward the exit. So if I'm near the exit and we have 5 minutes left, I can get to the exit or I can sink. Either works. But if I could do that, then we can have 2 in the exit and the necessary requirements to win 2 or 3, depending on the case. So this is why I stick close to the exit, but I'm not actually in it. Because here we're going to actually farm damage, get more XP, more, and try and help out our battleship that's in there in the harbor. Now I see a York there, and so we are going to pull away from the York. And by pulling away, we actually get out of its targeting range, and so now it's going to target the others. And yes, it's 7.5 kilometers away, but if I don't focus down the York now, then my torpedoes should reach to where it should be. So this is, I am using, like, the speed is coming towards me as assistance to hit with torpedoes at targets that, when launched, are more than 7, more than my torpedo range. In this case, more than 7 kilometers. In this case, we're able to get the kill with just guns. So now I'm going to move over this way. I'm actually going to move, looking at this, in between C and D, for the spawns, to try and get to a point where I can torp the battleship and the destroyer. And they would probably kill me in the process as well, because I only have 5k HP, and at 9 spots I would not get enough for another heal. No, but that Leon is showing full broadside to a Bayern. I can no longer shoot the Bayern, and the Bayern can no, it can't not overmatch the nose of the Leon. But it can definitely do a lot to the broadside of the Leon. And the Leon cannot overmatch the nose of the Bayern. And so there we go, the Leon kills The Bayern as the Gneisenau kills the Leon. We get some damage on the destroyer. And the enemies came in from the north. I could not cover both sides. I'm only one ship. But we do have 409,000 damage, natural selection, major computer and contributor, and major contribution and assistant. And as you can see, nearly double the XP as the next Mainz, who was alive until the very end. So you can see not the ship, but the player really makes a difference on who does well in the match. We have 409,000 damage. 100,000 of that came from fires alone, just fires. And so this is why we've bait out the DCP and then set all the fires. And Mainz has one of the best fires per minute. As you see, there wasn't much there, but if we go to the Fuso, 34k from fires. This Fuso, nothing much from fires, mostly HE and armor piercing, a good 17k from armor piercing. So once we got up close and doing that armor piercing damage, that's since the Torps all missed that one. There's a Gneisenau that we set fires on, 43k of just fire damage. There's the Bayern that got killed by the Leon at the end. We also had a good damage of fire damage. And as you can see, the forts, they do track damage, and you can see like 18 shells for 18k damage of armor piercing. Whereas here, 15 shells, so we got more penetrations with that, and for the whole 33,000 damage. And so if all of the shells had actually penetrated, we could have gotten it with less shells. So this is the one where we kept bouncing off at the beginning. And here, only 3 shells to kill the onshore installation. So 1 or 2 turrets would do it. And since we were running blue boosters, we have 1.6 million credits profit, 9,000 free XP, and a 21 point commander. So that's 35,000 commander XP straight into our elite commander XP pool. So someone asked for a Mainz video, and so this is why we're going with Mainz instead of trying again for another Weevy video in Killer Whale, even though I really like that video. I did pretty well. I think I was either top or second of the team, even though I never went in the harbor. Oh well, you can just imagine it since I don't have that video saved anywhere. And you can just enjoy that. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video and you said I was sucking, you can give it a thumbs down. But, well, I'd say the results speak for themselves. That said, I would appreciate if you click that subscribe button. Can't make you because I'm not your mother. And I hope to see you again next week. I know I had a lot of videos this past week, but I don't plan on having a lot of videos next week. Maybe once the patch rolls around and then you have new D-Day types, I will make videos for those in addition to our standard ops videos. With that, I hope to see you again. Have a good one.